Woohoo! Harbor friggin' Freight. One of my favorite places to go. Anybody who wasn't born, anybody under like 35 probably won't remember a time before there was an actual store and Harbor Freight was just a catalog. Boy, that was a good day when that thing came. I used to love that. That was so much fun. You'd get that catalog and just daydream about all this great stuff. Huge toolboxes and welders and $2 screwdrivers. So, Harbor Freight has so much stuff. And, of course, they've got everything from the dirt cheapest tools you can possibly find to middle of the road, decent stuff. My computer's been acting up, though. I don't know if I'll be able to even do this. It's not really my computer, it's the stupid firewall. I don't know, it doesn't let me do a lot of stuff if my firewall and stuff is on because this thing's so old. But as long as you know, like, what to avoid, and I heard a lot of people talk smack about Harbor Freight, but every single one of us would love nothing better than to have a little shopping spree at Harbor Freight with somebody else's credit card. Don't do that. For anybody that really doesn't know, hasn't been to Harbor Freight lately, they have started a few of their own new tool lines for different things, some power tools. One of them is these Icon mechanic stuff. The Icon tool line, which quote unquote is Snap-on comparable, which is probably horseshit, but Snap-on is so expensive that even something that's half the price is still expensive. But they're, pretty much the highest quality. Not in everything. There's some stuff that's Snap-on that's kind of crappy. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Icon. So they have hand tools and sockets and wrenches, but their boxes, there's been a ton of hype about these Icon boxes. A lot of the reviews I saw, these Icon boxes have heavier gauge steel than the U.S. Generals or the Craftsmans, the Cobalts, the Huskies. I don't know if it's on the same line. I should find out. That's pretty important. That if it's the same gauge as like a Snap-on or a Mac or Mako box. But these aren't exactly cheap either. $3,000. I do like the U.S. General. I guess the U.S. General is not a heavy as gauge steel. What's kind of keeping me from is I really love the soft close drawers. It's like the best feature. I just love that. I used to want a hutch too. There's something about hutch. Wow, $1,000. Wow. But I mean, I have a really nice workbench and stuff. I really don't need a hutch. But God, at $1,000? Oh, good Lord. What if you work like at a dealership or mom and popper? You're going to want to lock your laptop up and all your stuff up, but still not for $1,000. So yeah, between the hutch, this is a top locker that goes on top of the hutch. That's $1,000. Holy crap. This is the top box. So the ones on wheels, you could just wheel these around and use it like a workstation. You put a piece of wood up here or a piece of metal and use it like a workbench, put a vise on there. Or you could put one of these right on top of it. It will almost be so tall that a shorter guy won't be able to see inside of these top drawers. I wonder how much. Let's have a look at the U.S. General. I bet they're way cheaper. Well, I know they're way cheaper for sure. But where would that be? All departments, tool storage, U.S. General. I really like these service carts. Something about these I really like. You know, instead of making 100 trips back and forth to your toolbox every time you need something, you load this up with what you need and bring it with you. I'd have a hard time picking a color. I don't know, that'd be a tough decision. The blue's really nice. This green is friggin' gorgeous. Loving on the yellow. Even the orange. All these. Those are nice, man. And the white, there's white. Oh, why was that one cheaper? Oh, no, it wasn't. White, yeah, that's hot. I like it. I like these new colors. I think my buddy Dave just got one of these ones here. I can't remember. Maybe it was this blue one. But they're nice. Yeah, they're nice. You just wheel them around with what you need for your particular job instead of carrying everything or whatever. Alright, let's have a look at some screwdrivers here. So I don't know everything. I'm no expert or anything, but I know a little. I love talking tools. Oh, this thing's being a pain in the ass. Ay. That's what happens when you're trying to run Windows 98 in 2021. Sad thing is, I'm not even joking. I am literally running Windows 98. Stay organized. I've always liked these. I've never got them. Magnetic storage things and stuff for you could slap on the side of your toolbox. I've always liked them. They come in different colors. A paper towel rack, rubber glove holder, spray can. Get a few of these, line them all up. I don't know. What else are they showing here? These jump packs suck. I would personally avoid these. If they would be okay for like a 4-cylinder or maybe a small 6-cylinder. But you're not going to jump in a F-150 or anything bigger. No V8s. Barely. It'll barely crank a V8. I'm a big fan of those booster pack brand. I think they're better than those lithium ion ones now that everybody's hyping the hell out of. You won't find any videos of some dude jumping his dead F-250 and cranking the thing over like crazy. They just, they're good for cars. But the booster pack brand one's amazing. So yeah, I personally would avoid these. Yukon toolboxes are middle of the road. They're okay. They're not great. They're not horrible. I wouldn't mind having one. Some of the other brands or lines that Harbor Freight's carrying, McGraw is one of them. So this McGraw company, if you haven't been down with your Harbor Freight lately, is kind of like the new, I forgot what the old Harbor Freight compressors were called, but anyway, this is their new compressor line. They're pretty cheap. One nice thing is some of them are not silent, but really quiet. And I think that's a huge feature to have a quieter compressor. That's huge. Every time mine kicks on, it scares the crap out of me. It's loud as all hell. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. This thing is not playing nice. Air tools and compressors. These California Air one's another good brand. These McGraws, though. I don't. You know, people who have them like them. I don't know. They're, first of all, they're underpowered. They did it even tell you how many horse? They probably won't even tell you the horsepower of the engine because it's so low. They'll sling every way they can with friggin' numbers and facts and info, but they will not tell you the horsepower. I gotta like crawl right up here to look. Running horsepower, 1.5. 1.5 horsepower. Look how big this friggin' thing is. 1.5. 1.8. 1.6. So, I have an older Craftsman. It was like maybe it's a 30-gallon stand-up. $26. I'm not seeing a comparable set. Oh, I have a Craftsman. It's 30 gallons and it has a 6 horsepower and motor on it. Not an engine, but an electric motor. So, and then it takes a while to fill up. You know, 20. Okay, here's a comparable one. Comparable size. Let's see if we can get the stats here. Watch, yeah, I'd be surprised if they list it. These Fortress ones are actually a little bit better than McGraw's. Oh, it's right here. 1.6. 1.6. So that's only 2 gallons smaller than mine. So anyway, all I was really getting at is that Harbor Freight compressors are all underpowered. They may not even have a 6 horsepower one. It's just a plug. It's a 110 plug. It's nothing like major. It's not a 220 and a hardwired. It's just a compressor exactly like this one, but red, and says Craftsman on it. But anyway, yeah. I can't believe how underpowered these are. I haven't seen any 2.5 horse. That's a lot for this little sucker. Central Pneumatic, yeah, that was like the old line. 2 horse. So even these little, stupid little hot dog ones have more horsepower than these big suckers. It's so weird. Why would they do that? 2.5 horse. Look at the size of this thing. $1.5. Why? I don't get it. I really don't get it. These are so grossly underpowered. So personally, if you are in the market for an air compressor, get it. I would say a 5 horse. If you're going to be doing shop stuff, it depends. I can't say whatever. You know, you may be just getting it to fill tires, and then you don't want a real big sucker like that, you know. But if you're going to run some air tools or whatever. One that definitely a good feature of the low noise. I'm not really seeing them push it. They was like the biggest deal for a while. I'm sure they're still loud. They're just not as loud. .200 PSI, that's pretty high. That's higher than normal. I think your average is like 120 to 150. You'll risk blowing out cheap airlines and stuff at 200. Alright, let's get off air compressors. I'm not even seeing the really whisper quiet ones. Some other, these are more well known. The earthquake line of tools. I mean, they're okay. They're okay. They're not great. For the price, they're okay. A lot of these numbers are skewed. Companies tend to fib a little bit with their impact torque numbers. But these prices are cheap. Boy, oh boy, if you were looking at a snap-on, half-inch snap-on one of these, probably almost $1,000. Ingersoll Rand. I mean, everybody's getting away from the air. I personally like the batteries. I have a bunch of impact guns of both air and battery, and I just prefer the battery. No lines, no more extra hoses and cords, and the power is there. I do like these little stubby right angle ones. Those are nice. And look at these prices. I mean, they're just giving them away. $89. The same thing in Milwaukee is probably about $300. But you know how it is. You get on the Milwaukee bandwagon, it's hard to jump off of it. I'm a Milwaukee junkie. I'm not going to go broke over it. Close to it. What else should we talk about here? I'm boring, I know. I'm getting all sidetracked on what I came here for. A little tool talk. I'm having trouble navigating this website. Well, these lights. Seems a little expensive. 10,000 lumens. That's pretty bright. Because I think I've seen these on sale for like $20. But I believe those are only 5,000 lumens. Bauer is another. Harbor Freight line. It's kind of new. So if you haven't been, really staying up on going to Harbor Freight a lot, all these new lines they coming out with, which I don't understand. Personally, they're wasting so much money they got like 6 different lines of tools now. If they would have took that same money and said, let's make the very best tools on the market, it probably would have been cheaper than what they spent doing all this other crap, and just pour all their money into making the very best tools in the market. I don't know. That's just me. So let's see here. Icon. They're Snap-on lookalikes. The quality's not the same. The metal's not the same. If you took an Icon wrench and a Snap-on wrench that are the same size and dropped them on the ground, you'd hear the difference. The higher the ring, the better the metal. Quinn is another one. These are really low priced, and they're actually halfway decent. I would rank them with Craftsman and Cobalt and Husky. They're decent. You won't be disappointed with those. They're real good. And fairly inexpensive. Doyle's been around. Doyle screwdrivers, I think, have been out there forever. They're pretty heavy duty. Doyle's are good. You won't be disappointed with Doyle's. They'll last. You'll be giving them to your kids. Yep. They'll be getting inherited. I don't think I have a single Doyle. I know I used to. I used to have some Doyle screwdrivers. I don't know what I did with them. These sets are cool. More and more people are carrying these. You see, starting to see these all over the place. This is, I don't know, not a very good one. Depending on what you want. Personally, I could do without the Allens. I I got the one that came with the Torx screwdrivers, the large Torx and the precision mini Torx, rather than the Allen keys. And they're not very good quality. No matter what brand you get, they're all pretty much made by the same place. And you won't be working on cars or nothing with these. But just for around the house, taking apart your vacuum cleaner or something like that, they'll be fine for stuff like that. They're pretty handy. I like these little sets. Usually you can get them for $20 too. A better set than this. Pittsburgh. Now these, Jesus. These are the shittiest screwdrivers money can buy. The fit and finish is just terrible. There'll be sharp edges on there that'll hurt your hands. I have actually twisted these ends right off, just and barehanded them. Just twist the end right off. So yeah, avoid those. They're not even worth having as a spare set, like an emergency set, because all it's going to do is aggravate you when the stupid thing breaks. Now, back in the catalog days, these were, I think, the original catalog, super cheap, big set of screwdrivers. I remember everybody used to have them, too. They're pretty popular. And they're junky. They're better than those black ones, but they're not as good as, like, the Quinns or any other name branders. A 22-inch, that's a long sucker. $6, that's dirt cheap. Friggin', if these were Snap-on or Macco, you'd be looking at probably $300. T-handles, you know. These are Torx. I don't know. I've yet to really have it. Maybe once every other year need a T-handle. They look good in your toolbox, but I don't know. It's just something that really hardly ever I haven't had a need for. Precision screwdrivers are nice to have, especially nowadays, the modern life we live. But even for eyeglasses, or, you know, the remote changing the battery in your key fob for your car, they got the most microscopic little friggin' screws. Clamps, I hear good and bad things about their clamps. These I hear you want to avoid. That's probably the Pittsburgh line now, not name brand ones, but these Pittsburgh ones are. I've heard a lot of bad reviews about them. I've never used them. But yeah, I've heard tons of bad things about these Harbor Freight clamps. And you know, it's just one of those things. You got to know what to avoid, and what you can get away with at these cheap ass prices. Look at this, $2. A lot of young and upcoming mechanics have fallen for this $2 set of picks that you would snap if you were picking a piece of steak out of your teeth. That'd break one of these. These are the cheapest. Sometimes the shaft will come right out of the handles, or they'll just spin. You can't turn anything because the shaft isn't locked into the handle, so the thing will spin on you. Oh, they suck. You'd be surprised how much in automotive repair you need these things. Use them constantly. Files and rasps. I would personally avoid Harbor Freight files unless they have a good, better, best. But from what I'm seeing here, which they probably do. They probably do have high-end files. Again, with the quinns, they're middle of the road, maybe just a smidge below average, below like Husky and Cobalt. You can get by with them, but they're just about Kmart brand. Pittsburgh sets, I would avoid these. These are really crappy. The slip joints in these are always messed up. They're knuckle busters. You don't want these. Don't get Pittsburgh pliers. Don't get these. These are shitty. Their vice grips are okay. Not great, not horrible. Oddly enough, these are better than Snap-on. Snap-on has the absolute worst vice grips. These, you know, if you're not doing anything really heavy duty, or you really gotta use a lot of force, because these handles, you'll be touching. The metal's so flimsy and flexible. But for light and medium duty, they'll come in handy. Precision ones, there's a million companies that make these. You can get a higher end one for not much more than these from a more name brand. These, I've had these as a kid. Yet another up and coming, I don't know what the word is, but I've always wanted these when I was a younger guy, and then I finally got them, and they're crappy. But I can't say nothing. My friend Dave just sent me a video of his toolbox tour, and he still has one of them in his toolbox. It was like the coolest thing to see that thing in there still. Back from when we were about 15 years old. So I guess they're not that shitty, huh? What else? My battery's going dead. I better wrap this up. Wow, 30-minute video. I may not even upload. Yeah, I'll wrap it up. I'll have to do some more of these. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.